Here on the channel, I get a lot of millionaires and multimillionaires and even billionaires watching my videos, and some people comment, oh, from YouTube, no millionaire, no rich person watches you. Well, from time to time, billionaires, legitimate billionaires from the UAE, in this case from South Africa, watch my channel because they want second options. Obviously, you've been seeing what's been happening in South Africa. A lot of people want to flee. A lot of people want to find second options. We've actually helped a lot of clients from South Africa get citizenship, get residency permits in other countries, and essentially move out of South Africa as soon as they can, essentially. This particular billionaire client was able to get multiple other citizenships around the world and able to create an amazing portfolio of not just citizenships, but also residency permits and investments in other countries. For this particular client, a couple of years ago, the goal was to leave South Africa, and he's a billionaire, so obviously he has assets to move anywhere he wants, and he doesn't want those assets to also be taxed. He's mainly a capital gains investor, so most of the taxes that he needs to worry about are capital gains taxes. That's why the first jurisdiction was Dubai, the UAE. He bought multiple properties in the UAE, and although it depends on if you really want to buy a property in the UAE, you need to study the market properly. I recommend you book a call with us with a link in the description before buying property. Property in the UAE is not for everyone, but for this particular client, he loves property. He had money to buy property, $1 billion essentially, so he bought a lot of them in the UAE. He got the UAE golden visa, and also he's renting out a lot of these properties, so he's also making rental income. He has a company buying a lot of these properties, so some of that income is taxed with the 9% corporate tax, but he more cares about the capital gains tax potentially on that company, and also just to have a diversification on his current wealth, and also to get long-term residency, which is the 10-year golden visa. That was the first step. Second step is to get a second citizenship. He didn't only want to have South African citizenship, so he got St. Kitts. St. Kitts was a pretty straightforward. I also have St. Kitts citizenship, and I recommend it to a lot of people. Now Caribbean countries are being restricted. You see the European Union constantly challenging these countries. The reputation around the world is not the best, obviously, but it is a great second option. It's a great second citizenship for an American, for a South African, for a UK citizen that doesn't trust the UK. They just want to have a second option. St. Kitts, Antigua and Barbuda, for example, you can get it through crypto. We can facilitate a crypto payment for that citizenship. All these Caribbean countries serve as the perfect plan B. You're probably not going to go and live there, but you can use that passport to open bank accounts, to open exchange accounts. Make sure that if you have to report them to your country of origin, report it, pay the taxes that you owe, only avoid taxes legally, and be very careful with creating structures and avoiding taxes abroad. But in this case, he moved to the UAE, he got a St. Kitts passport, and now he has dual citizenship to protect himself against South Africa, but he didn't stop there. Next option is to get somewhere in Europe without getting too deep in the tax net, because as I said, $1 billion is going to potentially be taxed heavily in pretty much any country in Europe unless he's extremely careful. He didn't want to get European citizenship because in his view, the EU long-term is not a good play for citizenship for him. He more was interested in just residency, so he got the Greek golden visa. Not going to get naturalized as Greek, barely any residency requirements. He just keeps the property there and continues to extend his residency permit indefinitely, and it also gives him another country to live in that is quite close geographically to the UAE. He can fly from Athens to the UAE. He can then fly from the UAE to South Africa if he needs to, or if ever in the future he wants to go back to South Africa, although right now that is not the plan. So he got the Greek golden visa, he has the UAE golden visa, he's diversified with those two residency permits, as well as a St. Kitts citizenship. For this particular client, it was also important to have more diversification in terms of citizenships because South Africa, St. Kitts, and he wanted one more. That's why we helped him get Serbian citizenship. He invested into real estate in Serbia. He also started a company in Serbia. Taxes in Serbia are not extremely aggressive. They're not extremely high, like in cases of Spain. I made a video how a horrific tax situation cost the guy millions of taxes in Spain. You want to be really careful with the Spanish tax authority. Spain is great for lifestyle, but don't spend more than 183 days. Don't build too many ties to Spain. Be very careful. For this client, he wanted to go somewhere that didn't have that much tax, he wanted to make some investments, and he also wanted to get a citizenship. So Serbia was a great option. And he also has a great profile. He obviously has a lot of money. He's a clean person, a clean investor, and he was able to get Serbian citizenship by exception, by merit. It took a little bit more time than it would take a Westerner or a US citizen or a UK citizen get citizenship. And because he already had a Greek golden visa, that helped a lot because he was already a resident of the Schengen area. He was already a resident of Europe. He had already gone through due diligence in Greece, in St. Kitts. So it was a pretty straightforward process, even though it took longer than it would take a Westerner. This particular client had a lot of land in South Africa, and he believes in buying land in many countries. That's why he also likes El Salvador and Paraguay and Argentina as well. So he's also making land purchases, not only in El Salvador, because he absolutely loves El Salvador. He's not getting the citizenship, not just yet. Maybe in the future, maybe in the next couple of months, he will go through the El Salvador citizenship route, and he can easily afford that $1 million price tag. He would have another citizenship. He'd also be a citizen of El Salvador. For now, he's buying land. He's buying land in Paraguay. He's getting residency in Paraguay and also residency potentially in Argentina, although he basically just wants one residency program in Mercosur just to be completely diversified. And that's why I tell a lot of people, the more the better, the more residency permits, as long as they're in tax-friendly jurisdictions, in countries that don't want to nail you for your taxes, in countries that don't want to squeeze all your wealth from you, the more the better. If you have 3 passports, 6 different residency permits, he's not really focused on Asia. He doesn't really care that much about Asia. So he has UAE golden visa, Greek golden visa, El Salvador buying land, Paraguay residency, and obviously that Serbian citizenship. That is enough diversification for a billionaire from South Africa that wants to protect himself against the South African government. And this is not about racism. This is not about race. This is not about color. I don't really care. I don't really care what color you are. I don't really care what you're running from as long as it's legal. You're not running for anything illegal. As long as you have a clean criminal record, you're not in sanctions or anything like that. We help you because different clients look for different solutions, and different clients are going away or looking for, I should say, they're going towards a country that has better tax laws, that favorable treatment, that is not going to take all their wealth, that is not trying to seize property away from them. And they're going away from a government that is trying to take everything from them to a government that's going to give them peace, and a government that's going to protect their assets, not take them away. What I also see working with these billionaires and these multimillionaires all over the world is that the concepts of, for example, visa-free travel, of a passport, of access to the world, of a citizenship, don't really matter that much. It's more about, is that country going to tax me to death? Is that country going to restrict my wealth? Is that country going to take my property away? Are they trying to build a case against me because I'm wealthy? Or is that country going to leave me alone? And it's also going to be a straightforward process, or it's going to take me 5 years of filing tax returns and this crazy bureaucracy to get that citizenship and that passport. Visa-free travel and how many countries you're going to access around the world isn't that important anymore. It's more about, is that country where I'm getting citizenship, do they have low taxes? Can I see myself potentially spending some time there? Is it going in the right direction? Is it developing pretty well without the crazy controls, for example, of the European Union? A lot of people want some sort of European citizenship, like a Balkan citizenship, without the restrictions of the EU. Places like Serbia, places like Albania could potentially be extremely beneficial for somebody like that that's looking for a Balkan citizenship geographically in Europe, without the restrictions of the European Union, without all these crazy tax regulations that EU residents have to go through, or I would say EU long-term residents that are being tax residents in their EU countries, because you can be an EU resident without actually being an EU tax resident. In most cases, with some golden visa program or short-term residency program, you can also get those. For this particular client, it's not about the best passport. It's not about getting US citizenship. Not every South African billionaire or multimillionaire wants US citizenship. And not every millionaire wants that US citizenship, like people are saying. They don't want the hassle of the United States. They don't want the hassle of FATCA, of being chased around the world. They want countries that leave them alone, that don't bother them. If they're rich, that's what the rich are truly looking for. And that is what you should look for as a millionaire and a multimillionaire. Countries that leave you alone, don't care if you pay them your wealth, you have diversification all over the world, you're properly structured, and you're living where you really want to be living. If you want to be like this client and get a second citizenship, I made a video on the best citizenship programs for multimillionaires all over the world. Citizenship by investment, by donation, by merit, all the different citizenships you can get right here. Watch the video right here.